What do you think this will sell for eventually? And in my head, the valuation that Blaze Pizza got was 250 million, which was a great number at the time. And so any number around, I mean, any number is great if you started with that $900, right? But,
That's true.
yeah, and Dave goes, and I remember thinking, this dude is crazy, like $1 billion, like there's no way. And Armand was he was on my left, and he said, at least a billion. And I remember sitting there going, these guys are just they don't get it. They don't understand how it works, And as it turns out, the industry veteran, I've been in the industry for 35 years. The industry veteran didn't get how it works.
Awesome. Hi, Jim. Thanks for joining us on the TechBite podcast. So we're going to have a pretty easy conversation on operation and the growth behind Dave's. I want to start off with a little bit of a history. You've been in the restaurant industry for a long time, but start with that and then figure out what you guys are doing, how you've done what you've done, and then discuss what's next for Dave's after the recent acquisition. So let's start off with your past experience. I don't want to go too far, but you were also in Blaze, and you were also instrumental in growth on the Blaze side. So start with there, and then what made you move to Dave's?
Yeah, so I joined Blaze Pizza back in 2013. There were 2 locations open. I left in 2020, right in the middle of COVID. We had about 372 locations. So we grew that one pretty substantially, pretty quickly. Jumped over here, landed at Dave's in June of 2020. And we had 4 locations open at the time. And right now, as of this very moment, we are at roughly 394.
Wow, so you surpassed already the Blaze days.
Yeah, we blew it out of the water. It's been crazy.
So what made you move? Why did you come from Blaze to Dave's?
It was, well, there were a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons was that we had gone through a private equity transition, I'll say back in 2017. A little bit of change to sort of the company and the motivations, and without saying anything disrespectful, it just changed. That's what happens. Gotcha. In the meantime, one of the founding investors of Blaze Pizza, his name is Bill Phelps, became the CEO and he founded the franchise co of Dave's Hot Chicken. So I don't know, maybe 2018 or so, maybe probably even 2017, Bill's son, Ty, ran into the Dave's Hot Chicken brand concept in the parking lot, in the original parking lot, and told his dad to take a look at it. By the time they were in their first brick and mortar, Bill and his investment group took a look at it and ultimately made a deal. And by 2019, they formed the franchise co and started franchising the brand. By 2020, they were ready to start bringing in the leadership team. And I think I would be the first official full-time C-suite hire, if that makes sense. There were other folks here, of course, but when he really started getting ready to scale, I have the honor of being that first chief that he hired. A lot of the other folks were in as fractional, but he brought me in full-time. So.
Well, it definitely has paid off. So, yeah. And funny, we were having dinner yesterday with a couple of guys, and the guys were like, hey, you want to see where Dave's got started? It's like, it's literally across the street. So we walked across the street, and it's like, there's just literally those 2 parking slots.
Right. Yeah, same two spots.
Yeah.
And the same, I think it's the same graffiti that's on that same wall.
Yeah.
That you see in some of those early pictures.
Who knew that $1 billion exit would start from 2 parking spaces?
Can you imagine?
Like literally, if that's not motivating, I don't know what is. 0 to $1 billion from a parking lot to here.
Do you know who knew? The founders knew. The guys. We call them the guys. Dave, Armand, and Tommy.
How did what gave them the insight to be like, this is it?
Self-confidence. They really had a belief in themselves that they were going to make this into something big. And I remember we were in Las Vegas doing a site ride I want to say it was probably 2021 or so. And we were looking around at sites, and some conversation got started. I was in the back seat with Armand and Dave, and I said something around, "What do you think this will sell for eventually?" And in my head, the valuation that Blaze Pizza got was 250 million, which was a great number at the time. And so any number around, I mean, any number is great if you started it at $900, right? Like,
That's true.
yeah, and Dave goes, $1 billion. And I remember thinking, this dude is crazy. Like $1 billion? Like there's no way. And Armand was he was on my left, and he said, at least $1 billion. And I remember sitting there going, these guys are just they don't get it. They don't understand how it works, And as it turns out, the industry veteran, I've been in the industry for 35 years. The industry veteran didn't get how it works.
That's actually what I want to say, because they didn't come from the restaurant industry. So you were experienced in this. You're like, well, we grew Blaze to 400 locations, 350 or so, and we got 250 million.
Yeah.
For you to be $1 billion, you're gonna have to at least 1,000 units or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, these guys are crazy, but clearly.
Well, I mean, crazy or they just don't, naive really more than anything.
Yeah.
When Blaze got the $250 million valuation, they had about 250 locations. And so when Armand and Dave were convinced, like just sure of it, like it wasn't even a question, like $1 billion, and it wasn't a joke. They were dead serious. And I just remember going in my head, like, they don't understand. They don't understand. And it was really me that didn't understand. And Bill, our CEO, and really the architect of the successful growth strategy, the guys, they created the concept, right? This is their concept. They put it together in Dave's kitchen. They opened it up in a parking lot. They got the Eater LA blogger article, and they launched the concept. Bill and his team of investors saw it as a real opportunity to grow and build something phenomenal, and ultimately make a lot of money, hopefully. But one of the very first conversations I had with Bill said, this could be worth a lot of money one day, but the chances are much greater that it's worth zero one day.
Oh, interesting.
And he always has had that pragmatic, sort of like sober, like, guys, the likelihood that we turn this into something amazingly, profitable and with a huge exit and all of those things, sure, there's a chance, but the chances that we turn it into $0 are a lot greater. And that's always been his tone, his attitude, his approach. So he's always been grounded in a very healthy, pragmatic, optimistic, yet very honest, very conscious of like what could or couldn't be. So,
and also Bill comes from restaurant space as well, because I think Wetzel Pretzel and then Blaze.
But Bill started off. If we go all the way back, Bill started off working in his dad's company. His dad's company sold rawhide dog chewies. Got sold to I think Carnation Company or Nestle, or they became. He can tell that story a lot better than I can, but ultimately he ended up at Nestle, and he was in sales and marketing there for several years. And he and his business partner Rick Wetzel and Rick's wife Elise decided to start Wetzel's Pretzels while they were all still at Nestle. And as he tells the story, their families thought they were crazy to start a pretzel concept. And of course, it's been now 30 years, 3 private equity sales later. The last one, Wetzel's sold for like $210 million on a dream that they started, I want to say, in like 1994. That's pretty crazy. So he really didn't start in the restaurant industry, but I've always been impressed by the fact that the way he talked about Dave's, the way that he talked about Blaze, was he always talked about the business. This is a great business. we're going to build a phenomenal business. That's how he's always framed what we've done, what he's done, whether it was Dave's, Blaze, Wetzel's, and I'm sure that probably was true at Nestle and back at the rawhide business as well.
And actually, that brings up a good point, because I talk to a lot of restaurateurs, and I think that's what's missing. They're not viewing it as business.
Yeah.
They're looking at it, hey, this is a restaurant business. This is a, they're not treating it like a business. They're not looking at the P&L. They're not looking at the sales. They're not aggressively monitoring and trying to make it as profitable as they can by doing whatever, increasing retention, guest count, or whatever, pricing, etc. But do you think that's a big differentiator between what you guys are doing and everybody else? You're looking at this as a business, not just a restaurant?
I think for sure for Bill, he's got a nose for business. He's got a nose for great businesses. And even when he talks to a franchisee, one of his very first questions is, how's your business doing? And so it's not about sales. It's even though it is about sales, it's not about he doesn't go like, how was your last P&L? He just says, how's your business doing?
Right.
And it's a mindset, I guess. I pay close attention. I look at Bill as a mentor. I look at Bill as a hero, to be honest with you. He's one of my heroes, I say. And I watch how he does stuff and how he portrays himself and how he delivers as the CEO of the company and as the founder of multiple brands. And I use it as like learning and understanding for myself. So
yeah. So let's rewind back a little bit. So it's 2019, I think, when you came on, you and I
2020.
I got 2020. That's right. Yeah. So we had a conversation where, the brand that I remember vividly on the call, you're like, hey, we only have like 4 or 5 locations now, but this is the plan, this is where we're going, etc. For you to go from a multi-hundred unit brand back to 0, it's not easy to do. You climb a ladder, you're on the 5th step, you go all the way down, you go to the next ladder, and now you're step 1.
Yeah, it was easier on the second one. Before I went to Blaze Pizza, I was VP of operations at Carl's Jr. And when I was offered the job for Blaze only had 2 locations open.
I see.
And my role as VP of operations, I covered a region. I covered Texas and California, part of Southern California at San Diego. And so when they offered me the job, I remember saying, well, how many locations? And they said, well, we have 2 locations right now, but we're gonna open hundreds, if not thousands. I mean, I had 3 kids at the time. 3 little kids. And I was just imagining trying to tell my wife, like, hey, I want to take this job at a startup restaurant company called Blaze Pizza. I ultimately we did it, obviously, but that was a much harder decision to make. That was a much harder jump than jumping from Blaze to Dave's, because we had already done it and it worked.
I see.
And so the jump from Blaze to Dave's was like, oh, let's do it again.
Yeah.
The jump from Carl's to Blaze was like, oh my God, what are we doing? Like, is this a thing? So going back to Bill's saying, it's much more likely it's gonna be worth 0. That was much more true in my head on the Blaze Pizza jump than it was on the Dave's jump.
Gotcha. And then I assume that's where you met Bill, right?
I did. Blaze? Yes, at Blaze Pizza.
So you already had built some trust. You're like, oh yeah, I got this covered. Okay.
For sure, a lot of trust. I didn't know him very well. He was one of the founding investors. He and Rick and Elise had been partners at Wetzel's Pretzels. They were business partners in other ventures as well. He was on the board of directors, but I didn't have a ton of interaction with Bill. I knew him a little bit. He had asked me to take a look at some other stuff he was looking at and give him my operational opinion of how feasible this brand or this concept was versus that concept along the way. But I wasn't like hanging out at his house or anything.
I got you.
To be clear, I'm still not hanging out at his house.
Oh.
But but we're pretty close now. And when he jumped over to do Dave's from Wetzel's Pretzels, I remember seeing a LinkedIn post, and I screenshot it and I texted him. And I was like, "Congratulations!" And I sort of was like, "If you ever need any operational consultation or consulting advice or whatever, give me a call. I'm available."
I see.
Wink.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
sort of like,
yeah.
you know, because I loved what we had done at Blaze, and I was interested in doing it again. But I think he just gave me a thumbs up or a thanks, and that was sort of the end of that conversation until much later.
Yeah. Well, look at that now. But
Yeah.
all right, so let's go through the growth phase. So you jumped in. I'd like to drill down into like the first year. What did that look like? And people that are in that early stage, that they have the concept kind of, they think they're ready to take that next step. Obviously, franchising, you guys are majority franchise, very few corporate-owned stores just for testing, etc.
Right.
How do you determine whether a restaurant is franchisable and it's worthy of all the energy, resources, time, money that has to go into grow it from 4 or 5 to 300 and sell it for $1 billion?
I think ultimately the math is around the math. I think it's around the unit level economic potential. Dave's was all about great product. Like, it tasted great. It was really, really good. And it was a very profitable concept from the very beginning. As you scale, you are able to make it more profitable because you start achieving economies of scale. You start being able to buy in bulk. You get a national distributor, and you pay national distributing rates rather than street rates. And the list goes on and on of all the things that sort of change. So I think it starts with the initial concept and how craveable or how likable the food concept is, and then it flows from there. But I think that's basically how you get there.
So you said it was very profitable at the beginning. How so? Like, what drove that profitability? Because that's the biggest hurdle in any restaurant. Is just get to the profitability level, not even extreme profitability.
Yeah.
It sounds like this was already super profitable.
It was very profitable from the very beginning. The guys had such low overhead starting a parking lot, of course, right?
A pop-up,
and a ton of sales. And I've heard stories from Dave and Armand and Tommy where they were like, we were making $10,000 a month each. And that's wild for guys that, they didn't grow up in the streets, but they grew up pretty tight. Their parents weren't high earners. And so it was a lot of money for them. And within 7 months, they had enough money to start a brick and mortar. They brought in Tommy's older brother, who also had a little bit of cash to help them get started. That's how we ended up with 4 founders. The original 3 founders are Dave, Tommy, and Armand. And then Gary joined in when they went to the actual street store. A lot of people say that Gary was the smartest of the.
Oh, he waited until it was.
He waited until it was like super strong. And whatever. And then they opened up in a location that, quite honestly, today, if a franchisee brought it to us, we would never approve. It was an end unit, like a corner shop. Looked great from the street in terms of good visibility, not in terms of like the location itself. Super low rent. Like, I don't even know what they pay now, but low rent. So super low overhead, and then high demand. People love the product. They built a great following in that parking lot. When they opened the actual location, which is a couple of miles away from where the parking lot pop-up was, the lines followed, and they lasted forever. Still to this day, when we open up in a new market, you have lines blocked like around the block, waiting to try the food. So
why do you think that is? Is it just the buzz around the whole concept?
Well, I think 2 things. I think the food is great, and I think the food was great from the
But if people haven't tried it, they don't know the food is great.
Yeah.
So how do they like
Instagram?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, gotcha. Armand, who's the originator of the idea of Dave's. Armand is sort of the mastermind behind the entire concept. They all put in their work. Dave is a chef, and he put together all the recipes. Tommy's sort of the grit, if you want to call it that, behind getting it up and open. the other guys are sort of dreamers, and Tommy was sort of like the guy that said, we got to open it, and we got to open it tomorrow, and like forced the action on getting it open. But the quality of the food, the way it tasted, if the food didn't taste the way it tasted, they never would have gotten the blogger post from Eater LA. The blogger's name is Farley Elliott. Tried the food and was so immediately impressed. He posted the next day. It said, late night hot chicken stand might blow your mind. Line around the block, 100 people waiting the next night, and it just blew up from there. So the core is the food. The way that Armand was able to utilize the Instagram channel, the Instagram account, to continue to promote it and push it and promote it and push it. That's how we opened outside of California with lines around the blocks. Also. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that social media presence and just driving, and Armand's fairly younger. I don't know how old he is. So
34, I think.
Okay, so he's probably in tune with that generation.
100%.
Yeah. Exactly.
And when all this was happening, he was like 25. He was. Oh yeah. It was like he is what we call a social media savant. He just knew how to do it and what to do with it to make the brand grow. I've told the story so many times, but I'll tell it again. I was in Dallas, Texas. We were opening our first location there. It was still COVID times. I was wearing my Dave's Hot Chicken mask, and the lady checking me in, she's like, "Do you work for Dave's Hot Chicken?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "You guys are about to open a location here." I said, "We open in 5 days." And she said, "I can hardly wait to try it." And I said, "How do you know about us?" And she goes, "I follow you guys on Instagram." And it blew my mind, because it's like, how do you follow something on Instagram that you've never tried before? Yeah. I don't, I probably can tell you I still don't get it, but it's just Armand understood.
Yeah. The younger generation and that social media power, especially with the food bloggers and these guys that have a ton of followings, and the younger generation. Even myself, like when we travel, my wife pulls up social media and she goes through and she's like, "Hey, we should try this, we should try that, we should try that." And we still do. Actually, we're in LA, and there's the Italian place that we went to in Rome. And there's a location here, and she immediately is like, "Hey, we got to go try it."
Right. So, how was it here?
It was really good too, but not obviously Rome's a little bit different. But this was really good too. Like it's very little difference. There's some that they don't have here that they do have there, but it was really fantastic too. So now social media buzz, obviously a lot of followers, a lot of stuff like that. How does that translate into? Actually, I want to ask two questions. How does that translate into growth, building more units, and more importantly, why not corporate own it and go franchise model?
Yeah. Well, the franchise model is something that Bill and his team were experts at. They grew Wetzel's as a franchise model. We grew Blaze Pizza as a franchise model. Like I said, when I started with Blaze, there were 2 locations that were company owned and operated. When I left Blaze, we had a total of 8 company operated locations. Only 3 were owned and operated. We had a little special deal in order to open some restaurants, in order to have staff to open more restaurants, the training teams. We did a special setup where we got investors to open 4 locations, and we operated those 4, but they weren't our locations. If that makes sense.
Investor owned but operated by HQ.
So that way we were able to use those locations for growth. So that concept, like I said, I left when there were about 372 or 375 locations, and we owned and operated 3. One of them was a purchase of a franchisee that wanted out, was ready to exit, and it was close to our home market. And so we just had those. The concept here was the same. Right now, today, we own and operate 10 locations. Of those 10, we purchased 6 during the Rourke Capital deal.
So just recently?
Yeah, we purchased the 6 from the founders.
Oh,
gotcha. as part of their exit. We only had 4, so that were ours. If that makes sense.
So the franchise model was just, you guys were expert on it. You knew you knew everything, and I'm assuming you had a pretty good list of
franchise contacts.
franchisors and contacts and
yeah.
people that were good. They knew the industry, they knew the business model, like just two and two matched up. How did the prior experience help super grow Dave's? Because you had already done all the you've already pre-vetted literally every franchisee in the country.
Yeah. Well, what happens is in the franchisee world, when a franchisee comes in and they find something good, they tell other franchisees within their other franchises. So we have a ton of Dunkin' Donuts franchisees in our system. And I would give the credit, almost all the credit for that to a gentleman named Raj Patel. He's the CEO of the Harry Group out of Chicago. They own 100 Dunkin' Donuts. And we have probably another 5 or 6 Dunkin' Donuts franchisees in our system that are all somehow connected to Raj, and Raj telling them, you guys should take a look at this. There might even be more than that if I sat down and counted. We've got several Jersey Mike's franchisees in our system. And I don't want to give the credit to the wrong guys, but I think Bob Quinlan and Al Graziano out of Boston are probably the first ones that were Jersey Mike's franchisees. We've got multiple Carl's Jr. franchisees, and although I would love to take credit for that,
well, you came from that.
Yeah, I know I did, but they were here before me. Carl Karcher, one of Carl Karcher's sons, I think was the first one in the door, followed by his brother Joe Karcher, and then a couple of other Carl's groups got involved through them. There are a bunch of Fuzzy's Tacos franchisees, and that's not a brand you hear about a lot, but Jason Beld out of Colorado might have been the first one in, and then he got some guys in Oklahoma in, he's got some guys in Miami in, and so on and so forth. And so the word spreads amongst franchisees within their own communities. Hey, this one's a good one over here, and then they end up sort of coming to you to a certain extent.
Yeah, well, they're having like word of mouth.
Yeah,
like, even for us, it's
word of mouth.
literally word of mouth. It's not, you guys aren't selling it; they're just coming to you.
Yeah.
And even for us, like 99% of our customers are literally all referred over.
Yeah,
so.
And the same was true at Blaze. There were a lot of the same groups that got in to Blaze from that same thing. So I imagine it's very similar all the way across.
Got you. So you said something key. You said they're telling each other this is good. You got to take a look at it. Why is it good?
Sales and unit level economics. Franchisees are franchisees because they got some money and they want to invest it so that they can make more money. You can invest in the stock market and you can earn an average of 8%, or you can invest it in X and earn Y. And restaurants, especially good ones with strong unit level economics, probably get you back 20%. If they're strong, pretty good return.
Yeah.
And so I always I would say he's a good friend. He's a great franchisee. Raj Patel, the guy I just mentioned, he and his group own over 150 restaurants. Bulk of those are Dunkin's. They also have some McAllister's Delis. They're one of the largest, if not the largest now, Dave's franchisee, and then a couple of other smaller brands.
So I think I'm looking at it from outside in. If I want to really grow a restaurant brand, just focus on unit level economic sales profitability.
Yeah,
that's what drives franchisees
for sure,
because they're looking at it as a business.
Yeah, exactly. So you think about it, you say, okay, if I can open a Dave's for, call it $900,000 or $1 million, and I can pay my money back in under 2 years, which we're at about we're right at a 2-year payback currently. Or I could go open, I don't know, like a yogurt shop. I might spend a third of the money on the yogurt shop, but it might take me 4 years to pay that money back. So it's it's just a balancing act. It's math. It just comes down to the math.
Yeah.
So Dave's has been strong on the unit level economics. from the very beginning. I'm not saying it was perfect when we first started. We tweaked it. We made adjustments. We negotiated contracts. I mean, it's more than just like it was great and all we did was sell it. I mean, there was a lot of work done to make it as strong as it currently is. But once you get it right, you have people lining up the door saying, I want in, I want to do that. I want to buy some of these. I would love to open these. And so on and so forth. Yeah.
So actually that's a great segue to our next topic on operation efficiency.
Yeah.
So obviously you could drive a ton of traffic and orders are late. You got to wait 3 hours and like fries is missing. Operationally, it could be a chaos. Like that could be the worst thing that can happen to you if you're not prepared. So how do you guys drive operational efficiency? How did it start? How is it now?
Yeah. So I'll tell you that in the parking lot for the guys, they had a little tiny fryer, and they could essentially make 16 orders, if I remember right. They could make 16 orders about every 10 minutes. And they would sell out hours before they would close because they'd have those lines waiting. And people were willing to wait for the food because it was that good and it had that sort of notoriety to it, and people were interested in it. And the big learning, at least for me, I mean, I've been in the restaurant business for a really long time. I understand that, it's about the food. I've always known that. People, when they go to a restaurant, are going because they're hungry. They want to, fulfill their need to satisfy that hunger. That's what they're paying for. But what I think a lot of restaurant businesses don't understand, or they get wrong along the way, which I will say I think I did that too until I got here, was that they believed that what guests, we call them guests, not customers, but what guests wanted was an experience, or they want, they want good food, and they want friendly employees, and they want fast, or whatever those criteria are. I think that is fundamentally right, but also at the same time fundamentally wrong. What they really want is really good food, and all the other pieces are secondary. So like food quality is here.
Mm-hmm.
Speed of service is not here.
Yeah,
it's here.
So you're saying speed of service, for those who are listening and not watching, but like if food quality is at 100%, speed of service is at 50.
Maybe even less.
Maybe even less.
Yeah. Think of it like this: the iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
When the iPhone first became the iPhone and everybody wanted it and had to have it, they were waiting in lines for hours.
And I don't think it had a camera, by the way.
It probably didn't, I don't even remember.
I know for sure it didn't even send picture messages when every other phone could.
I didn't get an iPhone early on. I got it later on, But when something's great, people are willing to wait for it.
I see.
And it's not about serving it fast, even though. So let me just make sure I say what I'm saying. The number one driver is that the food is great. All the other things are secondary, tertiary, whatever fourtiary is, whatever fiftiary is. Okay, like those are still important, but they're not what people actually care about.
Sure.
When somebody's willing to spend $200 or $250 on a T-shirt from Supreme, and they're willing to wait in line to buy it, it is not about how fast they can get it. It's about the brand and the quality they think they're getting. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that was a big aha moment, if you want to call it that, for me personally, about Dave's. And the guy that taught it to me is the guy that had no restaurant experience whatsoever, the visionary of the brand, which is Armand Oganesian, one of the founders. He's like, when the food's really good, people will wait. And as long as you can't give that part up.
Yeah.
The bigger we get, as we grow, as we scale the brand, we can't lose how good the chicken is. And that's always been top of mind for me.
So how the heck do you pull that off?
Good question.
Across 400 stores now, let's say, and growing. So it's like when it's within your control, you own the restaurant, there's so much you could do, but how do you scale that across all franchisee?
So there are a lot of layers to that. I mean, there are a lot of answers to that question. One of them is that you make the quality of the food the sort of the preeminent thing. The decisions you make, the choices around scaling or whatever, all of those things are non-negotiables. We just absolutely do not compromise on the quality. Problem is that in order to scale, there are some compromises you have to make. There's some learnings that we've made along the way in order to scale the brand. But as we've made those choices, as we've made those decisions to do those things, every single time we've tested them and tested them and tested them, and we've tasted the food over and over and over and over again. We've tested it for so long before we launch anything. We never launched anything that was substandard. Dave and Armand. Dave is our chief culinary officer. Armand is our chief brand officer. Still to this day, they are involved in the brand and they're involved in all of those decisions. And we don't make changes without their agreement, their approval, their involvement. We don't make a lot of changes, to be honest with you. I can show you a video from early on from Instagram where the fries are being done and the chicken's being seasoned by hand. Still do all of that same stuff today. The things that we went out and did is we found co-packers to do the spices. The guys were doing the spices like at home, not at home, but in a warehouse. They were mixing them themselves. Like those are the things we did. There are some choices you make along the lines there that you have to do in order to get it so that it was distributable nationally, and things like that. But quality has always been the biggest driver of the decisions we've made. Another big part of that decision is the quality of the franchisees you choose. We don't franchise to mom and pop franchisees. I'm fortunate to be a franchisee of Dave's Hot Chicken. That's a deal that Bill Phelps.
You are the mom and pop, no?
I know, yeah. So,
you're the exception.
It's a deal that Bill and I made when I came on board. I asked if I could be a franchisee. He said yes. I assumed the yes was sort of not really a fake yes, but it would be something that I'd have to come back and ask for later on. He actually initiated the conversation about 6 months in, and he loaned me the money.
Oh wow!
To get in. I know that's
so he was really confident.
Yeah, but he called it his golden handcuffs. Gotcha. He created some really great opportunities for myself, our CFO James McGeehee, several members of my team, and James's team. We all let them invest with us. They got to put some money in, and I don't know. They're probably maybe 15 or 18. I'd have to go back and count now. Dave's Hot Chicken franchise company support team members that are investors in our franchise or their own franchise in some way, shape, or form. They're somehow invested as franchisees. So other than us, and I always make the joke that we're the least qualified franchisees in the system, or at least we were. Other than us, the franchisees that we've selected along the way, multi-unit, multi-brand franchisees, well-capitalized, know how franchising works, and live and operate in the market that they franchise. We did a few missteps at the beginning where we allowed some franchisees who wanted a certain area and that area was already sold, so they bought a different area, and we did definitely stubbed our toe a couple of times on that. But multi-unit, multi-brand franchisee model that we learned actually from the Blaze Pizza experience. That Wetzel's was, Bill will tell you that Wetzel's, he'll say, if they could fog a mirror or they had a pulse, they'd franchise to them. And he said they learned really early on from the franchisees that was probably the wrong strategy. Blaze Pizza, when Rick and Elise did that brand, the whole strategy there, and really actually driven by their chief development officer, Carolyn Candid, who I have worked with since I was literally 19 years old. She was my district manager when I was like a kid, like I was like an assistant manager. I think she's the one that first promoted me to general manager, to be honest with you. Anyway, she had come into Blaze from Buffalo Wild Wings, and she brought a lot of the strategies that Buffalo Wild Wings had used to be very successful into the Blaze system. And that whole multi-unit, multi-brand, well-capitalized franchisees that know what they're doing, it was probably her signature move that helped Blaze be so successful. What we did when we came to Dave's is we took all of the learnings from the Wetzel's Pretzels brand and the Blaze Pizza brand, mixed them all together, and made this really successful approach, strategy, work at Dave's. Dave's wouldn't exist the way Dave's exists today without the Blaze Pizza experience and the Wetzel's Pretzels experience. So they just sort of built on each other to land us where we are today. So great concept, great unit level economics, great franchisees, and great vendor partners. A lot of our vendors, in fact, our distributor is Performance Food Group. Also, it used to be known as Roma. It's gone through a lot of changes. Second largest today. It's the second largest food distributor in the country. They were the Wetzel's Pretzels partner for distribution. They were the Blaze Pizza partner for distribution. They are the Dave's Hot Chicken partner for distribution. We have the same equipment vendors that we used at Blaze Pizza here at Dave's. Avanti Restaurant Solutions, I think is their official name. And the list goes on and on and on. We've used these vendor partners that we've created relationships with for over 10 years, 15 years, in some cases, 32 years, I think, if I'm doing the math right. And here we are, able to be a successful brand that we've been able to scale really, really quickly because of all of those ingredients, if you will. The last ingredient, and one of the most important ingredients, is building a great team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch base on that.
Yeah.
So actually, before we get into it, I definitely want to touch base on team because I have a lot of questions on the team. But so Dave's wasn't an overnight success. Like it was it was the prior team's experience that really made it that overnight success. So do you think Dave's would have been Dave's without the team?
I think that what I've seen with Bill in my 5.5 years with him, he's tenacious AF. Yeah, and he's smart and he's shrewd. He's a really, really brilliant businessman. And he is generous to a fault. I've heard that said about him. I had heard that said about him. I've seen that in real life. It inspires this level of loyalty where you just like, you're willing to run through a wall for this guy because he takes great care of you. He takes great care of his people. He's tough. He's not mean, but I know many a person on my team would say, "Oh my God, he used to scare the crap out of me." Like he's got this deep, booming voice. He's like 7 feet tall.
Yeah. Even me walking next to him, I feel like I'm short.
Yeah, I mean he's scary, but he's kind. He'll get in an Uber, and the first thing he does is he starts a conversation with the driver. So where are you from? And you know, Uber drivers are usually from somewhere else. You know, there's an accent or something, and you'll have a conversation with anyone and everyone. He's a generous tipper. I mean, Bill definitely, there's more than meets the eye with Bill. And he builds loyalty, or he inspires loyalty, I guess is the better way to say it. So he's got these people that want to come work for him. I didn't know that when I came to work for him. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I had heard great things about him. I was ready to do something new. I was very grateful to the then CEO at Blaze Pizza. Her name was Mandy Shaw. When Bill asked if he could talk to me about coming to work for Dave's, she gave permission. She didn't have to do that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I know it was very kind of her. And I mean, I'm grateful to her to this day for allowing that to happen because here I am in a great position. Yeah. But when we came, or at least when I got here, I immediately hired my entire Blaze Pizza team. Mandy and everybody at Blaze, they were looking for I don't, they, I mean, they wanted to upgrade. They wanted to sort of like take Blaze to the next level. They had this vision for bringing in new leadership or not new leadership, but additional members to the leadership team and sort of refreshing Blaze that way. And so I was able to immediately hire almost my entire team while they were working at Blaze. They just were moonlighting essentially. I was paying them hourly, 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week to help build out some of the systems and create almost like carbon copy. What we did at Blaze Pizza, we started doing it here at Dave's immediately. And within a few months, we were up and running in a really substantial way. So it was, I couldn't have asked for a better scenario than to be able to utilize, because we didn't have a ton of operating income. We only had, at the time, there were 4 locations open. One was the original location, which we weren't collecting royalties from. That was part of the deal with the founders. And the other 3, you get royalties. We didn't have a budget to hire a whole team. So the idea that we could port over folks from the Blaze team and pay them $25 an hour or something.
Yeah. So how did you? So wait, I thought Bill brought in the investment guys too. No.
There were investors. Yeah, there were a ton of investors. But
so were you not initially well funded?
Oh yeah, we're totally well funded. But you don't want to waste your money on hiring like 30 people right off the bat until you start.
I see.
Yeah,
okay,
until
so
you start
a strategic move.
Completely strategic.
I got you.
The whole first couple of years, most of the C-suite were all fractional. Yeah.
So
that's a Bill Phelps strategy. That's a Bill Phelps thing. Okay. Bill Phelps is an extremely generous, but highly frugal person in terms of making the right choices and the right decisions. And he'll tell you, we ran Wetzel's Pretzels for 26 years with 11 people in the support team, and you pause and you think about that. They opened 300 plus locations on an 11-person support team. That's wild.
Yeah, and actually, even looking at the corporate office here, it's the same thing. Like I've been to other restaurants that have around the same unit, and their HQ team is at least 3 times yours.
Yeah, our HQ team, if you count our trainers, and there's like 20 trainers, our HQ team is somewhere around 70. But we are only around 48 or 50, like your standard managers of this or managers of that, directors of this or directors of that. There are 6 chief level roles. There are probably 7 or 8 VP type roles, maybe another 7 or 8 directors, and then a bunch of like manager people and field support. The field support team is the largest team of all, but we're up to almost 400 locations. We will be at 400 restaurants by mid-January 2026. And you need to support those, the franchisees.
Sure. Yeah. But that's growing as you add more locations.
Obviously,
that's relevant.
Yeah. So we target 30 to 50 restaurants per franchise business consultant. Yeah.
So back to the team. How critical is that team, or what's the first hires? Like, run me back through that. Like, I love the strategy of crawl, walk, run. I've started doing that even within my own business, and saying, look, initially, I don't want anything automated. I want it completely manual. I just want to prove that it works.
Yeah.
When it works, I'll pour all my resources into it. But sounds like maybe Bill and you guys were doing the same thing. So run me through that first initial rules and how did you get
one of Bill's key partners from the very beginning is our chief financial officer. His name is James McGehee. Yeah. He's my business partner in the franchise. So Bill's golden handcuffs, he put him on both of us.
Yep. And he's the pretty sharp guy when it comes to numbers.
Oh, he's the sharpest guy when it comes to numbers. And what else he is he's very, although he's not a restaurant guy, like he didn't grow up in restaurants, he's a restaurant finance guy. He's been doing this for, I mean, he's slightly older than I am, but he's been doing this for 35 years. He knows restaurants, and he's very actively engaged in the business and in understanding what makes the business run. He's a key component. He was with Bill at Wetzel's. He was at Blaze for a short stint as a fractional CFO. And then he's been at Dave's since day number one. He's never invested his own money in any business other than Dave's Hot Chicken. Yeah.
Well, he sees the numbers. I mean, obviously.
Well, this is even with, I think when there was one location, he said, this one looks like a good one. He put his money into it, his own money into it. So probably one of the best hires Bill ever made was James McGee. And he was fractional from the very beginning. He had his own whole thing, and he was, he's in other groups and involved doing lots of different things, but now he's our full-time CFO, full-time partner.
So the finance guy was the first guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't technically, probably his son and his godson were probably first, but there was a team of 3 or 4 people at the very beginning, including Bill Phelps, Ty Phelps, Imran Ahmad. Imran Ahmad is Bill's godson. Elaine Delgado, she was our Bill's, like.
What were they doing? What were their roles?
Bill's the maestro.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's how Ty used to describe me. He just had people doing stuff.
James
Ty,
obviously did the stuff.
Yeah. James was CFO, putting together a lot of the business plan stuff.
Yep.
Ty handled marketing and operations from the very beginning. And Imran was chief development officer, started working on the franchising stuff. And there were a lot of consultant people that came in that helped, like on the construction. Tiffany Vaso, she's our senior vice president of construction and design today, was a consultant early on. We worked with her at Blaze Pizza. She jumped over and helped design and build restaurant number 4. Restaurant 4, yeah. From restaurant number 4 on. And so on and so forth. I mean, like, the list goes on. But none of those people were full time until much, much later. Until we had operating income, until we were generating royalties and the whole thing. So that took a bit of time to do well. But it's a pretty masterful approach to building it. What I will tell you is really smart, and what was different about Dave's than what we did at Blaze was that we brought in chief level people for those big roles early. At Blaze, it was the other way. We brought people in lower level and then tried to bring in chiefs, midway through.
Yeah,
there was a little bit of friction. That's tough. That's tough to take a leader who's been, running all of finance and say, well, now it's time to bring in a CFO on top of you. It's doable. We did it.
Yeah.
It's just it wasn't as clean and as smooth as the way Bill and I put it together here. It's much better, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense now that I think about it. I probably made that mistake and built from. Well, I've done it both ways, but bring in a C-level, then they're in charge.
Yeah.
They create the SOPs. They create the processes. Right. It's all on them, and they don't come in and try to revamp everything and start from zero again.
And from
that's not going to work.
And from a position of mastery, they already know it. They already know what to do. And
save time and money. You're right, because they're masters.
They already know what to do.
Yeah.
And they bring in key people
from previous connections
that know what to do and how to do it, and that are loyal to them.
Yeah.
It's a great model. The difference is the fractional piece of it.
Yep.
The problem when you're first starting out and you only have, your investment seed money, is that if you hire a bunch of chiefs, they all want, big salaries or whatever, or even a lot of equity, whatever that is, you end up potentially running out of money.
Yeah.
The fractional approach is really, really brilliant. I mean, it's brilliant because you bring in these people, they set it all up, and as the business builds, you pull them in full time.
Yeah.
And they want to then because they see the vision coming to life, and it works really well.
Yeah.
So that's like I said at the very beginning, I think I was the first full-time hire. Imran and Ty, as original investors, I think they worked for free at the beginning as they sort of got things set up. I don't even think they were drawing salaries. I might be the first full-time salaried one on the chief level that came in. I'm pretty sure that's true, to be honest with you.
So building a great team from the beginning is just instrumental. So
I think it's
people
key.
looking at this wasn't an overnight success. This was very strategic.
Yeah.
It was 20 years of experience, knowing the right people that teamed up, right people on both sides, operational, finance, franchising, with the chef, the founders, the great food.
Plus the franchisees, plus the vendor relationships. Plus all of that together, something pretty good, something pretty great, actually.
Obviously, pretty great. I would say really great, because you don't see restaurants getting acquired for $1 billion. That's a lot of money.
I think the numbers that we've seen internally, and I'm not trying to flex or toot our own horn or anything, but I think we are the fastest brand that's gotten to that type of valuation.
I wouldn't doubt it. In 5 years, roughly.
Roughly 5 years.
5 years. I don't think any restaurant. I don't think. I had done some homework.
I mean, somebody can go check, but I mean, that's our information.
Yeah. Well, even a tech company getting to $1 billion exit in 5 years is kind of unheard of.
Unheard of,
You know? Now with the new AI stuff, sure, but previous to that, no. And then let alone a restaurant brand. With such high failure rate, as they say. So what's market trends? Like, great, like, love the story. Now I'm curious about all this stuff myself. Obviously, I run a business. I want to grow. I love to exit for $1 billion one day.
So, of course.
What's going to keep things moving? How are you going to adapt to market trends? What do you see in the restaurant space? What's around the corner of that? Would be.
Well, I think that the strategy is still the same for us. I don't think anything's changed since the acquisition by Rourke. We have viewed it as we have new investors, not that we have switched who's in charge or the leadership. And I'd say that with zero disrespect. The Rourke Capital guys started talking to us in year 1.
Oh, wow. There was nothing there. Why?
They started talking to us. I think we had 13 restaurants open or something. We had just started franchising, and they met us at a conference. I don't even remember which one, but it was in Vegas. And they said, "Oh, we just want to talk to you guys and get to know you guys and chat with you guys." And we went to the Las Vegas days that had just opened. Maybe it'd been open a month or two. They were like talent scouts, like sports talent scouts, high school sports recruiters that start checking out middle school players and seeing who's coming up, and I think that's why they're so successful, by the way. They take the long view, and they pay attention, and they're looking at stuff earlier than you would even expect. And they met with us every year, a couple times a year. They offered support to us multiple times. Hey, if you ever need anything, give us a call. We did lots of phone calls and stuff with them along the way. And at the end, when we got to the point where it was time to go to market, they were right there, and they knew us, and they did all of the diligence. They worked for this deal. They earned the deal. Our managing director's name is Jeff Hill. The other managing director is Mike Sharkey, and we've known them for 6 years.
So this actually took an unexpected twist in the whole story. So they obviously, that makes sense. They're taking a longer approach. They're trying to see, and obviously they're looking at the numbers, the growth year over year, all that stuff makes sense. But what's interesting is you said they offered like services, help, etc. Prior to even any deal happening. So how did that come about?
Well, Jeff Hill, I think, was one of the original partners with Neil Aronson, the founder and CEO of Rourke Capital. How many years ago? 30 years, 35 years ago, 30 years ago. So they're very close. They've been involved for a long time. And Jeff is one of these guys. I heard a podcast from, I want to say 2008 or 2009. And the same things Jeff said to us as we got to know him and during the diligence process for this deal were the same things he was saying 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Which I think speaks to integrity. I was, you get nervous. Carl's went through a private equity deal and things changed. Blaze went through a private equity deal and things really changed.
Yeah.
And so you get ready to do a private equity deal and you go, everything's going to change.
Yeah.
And very little's changed for us in the 6 months since the deal. And all the stuff that Jeff and Mike and team, because there's a lot of folks on the work team, said before the deal is what they're still saying today post the deal.
Yeah.
One of their favorite sayings is, we're good partners in good times and great partners in bad times.
Yeah.
I hope we don't ever test that. I hope we don't ever have bad times. But there's a sense to them of truth and responsibility and integrity that is very encouraging to me. And based on the whole 6 months since we've known them, they have followed through on everything they said, every single thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm super hopeful. I think the formula is we continue to grow. I think we do a lot of international expansion in the next several years. And I think we'll continue to build value and leave all the options open for whatever might come, 5 years from now or whatever. I don't even know what that time frame is, but Rourke Capital did not buy in at the peak.
Yeah,
right.
Of course not.
Yeah, they looked at it and saw, oh, you guys are on this growth trajectory, and got in early. Bill tells them all the time that you guys stole us for $1 billion.
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, he says it. He says it right. He goes, you guys got the deal of a lifetime. You got the deal of the century, whatever. You stole us for $1 billion.
So why did you guys sell them? Obviously there's a lot of more upside. You've got another 1,000 stores coming up. I mean, you've got so much upside, so much opportunity. Why did you guys decide to sell?
I think there are a lot of reasons. I think the founders, these are Armenian, they were Armenian kids that grew up in LA. Like I said before, working class families, not a lot of money. There was a great opportunity for them to, cash in and make something of themselves. They got a lot of money out of the deal. There was a great opportunity that the Dave's board unanimously voted in with Bill's leadership, where everybody in the support team got some money. That deal created 19 millionaires out of the support team staff, which is crazy. But besides that, the average bonus was about 1 year's salary for everybody. If they'd been here 4 years, they on average got at least 1 year's salary. It's pretty strong.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good reason. Bill went around the table and said, even though I wasn't a voting board member, do you want to do this or not? Do you want to do this or not? Do you want to do this or not? With all of those options laid out on the table, the idea of changing people's lives, and that's Bill's personal sort of mantra, is he wants to transform the lives of the people who work here. That's something he made a thing, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And I hope to be as visionary as that someday. When you say something to me like that about transforming the lives,
it feels
I don't know.
Whatever.
Feels like a lot. It feels like a big commitment to make. It feels like a big commitment to say out loud and to commit to out loud.
Yeah.
I applaud him for saying it. I applaud him for making it something. We have transformed people's lives through this deal. People are buying homes. People are getting married. People are in positions that they were not in, a year ago, and it's a big deal. And most companies don't do that. Most companies don't, share the way that this company did. And I credit that to that generosity that I mentioned about Bill, generous to a fault. that we say. And I want to be clear, like, it's not like he wrote the checks himself. He didn't give up his share and whatever he owned in the company, and he shouldn't have. But the way that he made the business work, there was plenty of money in this deal, and there was more than enough to share with the people that helped build the company, and he ensured that happened. So why sell it? I think that, at least for my vote of yes, we should do it, was around that. I made some good money, and my vote for yes wasn't about the money I was going to make.
Sure.
It was about the idea of the people that we got to take care of in a moment or in an opportunity that I would say is like once in a lifetime.
Yeah, and Rourke is actually an exceptional PE firm. I don't know if I would. I mean, obviously they are a PE firm, but I would put them in a partner category. They actually have bought. So obviously we do a ton of business with one of their other brands across 1,000 or 1,200, 1,300 stores. They bought one of our other partners out, like literally a couple of years ago. Now they bought Dave's, and it's like they're slowly like scooping up all of our partners or customers or etc. But I had a conversation with those guys too, and you're right. Like they follow through, and they I think it's an exceptional team that is behind that.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious if that exceptional team on that side of the business has helped you guys now level up to a different game, where just like you said, you had your team that you brought into Dave's that leveled up Dave's to be able to take it to where it's going. Do you think with Rourke behind you, you're going to be able to do this twice faster, 3 times faster?
I do.
Okay. What does that look like?
Well, I think it looks like a lot of international growth. We have sold out the whole country, the U.S. domestically.
So no more franchisees.
Hawaii is still
Hawaii
is still available.
That's the only.
Yeah. What we're looking at now domestically is what we call hidden pockets, where it's like some offshoot market from like a main market that didn't sell originally, and either folding that into an existing franchisee's territory, or maybe finding like one that popped up the other day was, how come no one has Bowling Green, Kentucky?
I don't even know where it is.
Yeah, I don't know where it is either. I've never been.
Yeah.
But I bet a Dave's would do great there. And so, do we go find a single unit franchisee for Bowling Green, or do we roll it in with the guys that have Lexington and Louisville? I don't know the answer to that. I'll let our Chief Development Officer, Carolyn Kennedy, make that decision.
Sure.
And figure out who picks up Bowling Green. But we have some hidden pockets that are left to sell. But other than that, the only state that still is not sold is Hawaii. We're even working a deal right now in Puerto Rico that I feel like it just closed or it's about to close. So there's not a lot of open territory in the U.S. Big picture, we got the rest of the world left.
Sure.
You know, we are international. We have locations in the Middle East.
I saw the one in Dubai. Yeah, we have like a beautiful. I think it's right across from Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah, we
like
have
literally, it's across the street from Ritz-Carlton.
And we have several locations in Toronto. Well, in all of Canada, but mostly in Toronto. And we just opened last year, literally a year ago, in the UK, and they already have 7 locations open. Because they're doing so well, they wanted the rest of Western Europe. So they bought 8 countries in Western Europe for about, I think, 200 locations, 180 locations. So you will see us doing that for the next couple of years. And what we're looking forward to is that Rourke has like 88,000 restaurants in their portfolio.
Yeah.
And so the international side for them is huge. And I think their expertise in that is going to help us grow exponentially. There are more economies of scale working with a company that has 88,000 restaurants in their portfolio that will allow us to hopefully offer opportunities to make more money for our franchisees. We'll hopefully offer opportunities for our vendor partners who have been so instrumental in our growth trajectory to pick up more business and support other brands. And so I think we'll continue to do all of those things, but hopefully supercharged under the Rourke umbrella.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what's next for Jim at Dave's Hot Chicken?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh my
that's
God.
what I want to know.
Let me tell you this. When we made the deal with Rourke, they required us to roll half our equity.
Mhm.
So while we got very nice checks and we're very grateful, we were also asked to keep half our equity in.
Mhm.
And again, going back to the comments from Bill Phelps about being franchisees, golden handcuffs. I'm still a franchisee. I have 4 locations with my partners. We signed our 5th location lease, and we're going to keep building Dave's. And I'm going to be here, I think, for the long haul, to keep growing Dave's and to keep making it as even greater than it's been so far. So I don't think there's a lot different for me other than more of the same at Dave's Hot Chicken.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, hopefully this will be your last career move and exit out.
I'll
and
retire from Dave's someday.
Yeah, of course. There you go.
You never know. What I love about Bill is he just turned 70 this year. I always joke that I go, "How old are you? 100?" But he just turned 70 this year, and he likes to say, you know, Warren Buffett made the majority of his money after he turned 70. That's how Bill thinks.
Yeah.
Bill's dad is 95. He still plays tennis and golf every week. And I look forward to working with Bill and James for years, if not decades to come on Dave's. And, you know, who knows? If there are other opportunities, I'd love the opportunity to invest. Had I been asked to invest in Dave's at the time that Dave's was open, I don't know that I could have. I don't think I had any money to invest. I would have had to borrow it or something. I'm in a little bit different position today, and which I'm very grateful for. And I look forward to lots of opportunities to do, you know, investing on the side or whatever. But I'll be here tomorrow, and I'll be here next year, and I'll be here the year after that, right here, hopefully in this very same office. So.
Awesome. Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. We don't have any wood here, but yeah, sure.
My grandma always says, God willing. And so I will be here at Dave's for years to come, God willing. Yeah. So
I always tell my team, I'm like, look, once you find a winning horse, all you got to do is hitch your wagon to it.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you find that winning horse, just do that and you'll be taking.
Well, I definitely think I've got 2 winning horses. I got Bill Phelps and I got Rourke Capital. So here we go.
Yeah. All the recipes are in place. Just now is execution and growth.
I think that's right.
Jim, I appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to do this in person. This was, again, it was interesting for me. I always wanted to know the inside scoop and the inside story around how this whole thing came together, the team, the partners, the vendors, the founders, etc. So thank you for spending the time to let everybody learn about the history of the brand.
Happy to do it. And hopefully we're talking again in 5 years and we're talking about how, you know, Dave's got like 1,000 locations open or whatever might come.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.